What is up, everybody? It is episode 22 of Two Jersey Kids. I right here am one of your hosts, Adam Buckingham, alongside my best friend, the best stick handler in the business, Gary Seisel. How you doing today, Gary?
Excellent, sir.
Excellent. Well, Gary, before I get into the spiel, I think you had somewhat of an announcement for all of us, didn't you? I'm pretty certain you did. Drum roll.
Yes. So basically, from now on in our episodes, we have a Tuesday episode, and obviously we have a Friday episode, as Adam has explained hundreds of times, I feel like.
Numerous
so
times.
From here on out, on our Tuesday episodes, we're going to be doing more of a different style of an episode. So we're going to have shorter episodes that focus more on our personal experiences. So we're going to be talking about our favorite video games, favorite game consoles, kind of like a countdown sort of thing, and kind of talking about that sort of stuff. But we're also going to be talking about We're still going to be talking about, actually, the video games releasing during the week, but we're going to read off the list and not really read off any summaries. So obviously you can search for that stuff on our website, get more information about the games and stuff like that. So
TwoJerseyKids.com.
Just a different change. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, we'll have different things. We'll talk about ourselves, what we've done, our personal preference on games, and also we'll have probably some debates or two when it comes to a large topic. But it's still going to be a smaller episode, but you get more of the Two Jersey Kids vibe, which is all I think people really want because we're amazing. Am I right?
Indeed.
But if you didn't know, this is Two Jersey Kids, where we release two episodes each week. A Tuesday episode, which now is not breaking down the games coming out this week. It's breaking down our opinions about certain things. I don't know what to do for the spiel yet. Haven't thought it much through. But this is the Friday episode where we go through all the topics and news that have been breaking since the last episode we recorded, episode 21, which we're on 22 now, which is in your ear holes. Aren't you excited? Remember, please follow us on Twitter at Two Jersey Kids. If you're a new listener, thank you so much for being here. We love you all. Please, if you enjoy what you're hearing and everything to follow, please share us with all your friends if you are not embarrassed by us at all in the least. But then hit that subscribe button, and then also go rate us on iTunes or any podcast service that you use. It would be very beneficial to us. So yeah, if you're a continued listener, we love you and appreciate you all. Gary, what have you been playing this week?
Well, I'm getting towards the end of The Flame and the Flood. I'm still trying to complete the last stage. I'm at 9 out of 10 regions of the game, so I'm focusing on getting that finished. Ashley, fun fact, just finished a review a few hours ago for the game. It'll be out very soon. Actually, I think, well, of course we're recording this
by the time we're done recording this episode.
Exactly. So I've been playing that. I've also been playing Battlefield 1, although sparingly because my headset has been broken for a couple days, but I finally got a new one in tonight, so I'll be getting more into that as well. I've been playing NHL.
Yell and bitch at people all the time now.
Well, not only that, but I can also hear people in the game and hear things around me. But yeah, I can also curse out people too, so that'll be fun. But lastly, I've been playing NHL 17. It's actually playoffs tonight, so maybe we can win the championship. Maybe not. Shit. Maybe we'll get screwed. It's all fun. Who knows?
How many wins do you need to make it to the championship?
3.
3? Only 3?
Yeah. It's just like single elimination, but you do get to retry the playoffs one time. So if you if you get disconnected or something in your second game, you can go back and you play through the first game again, and then you have to go through the whole thing. But it's pretty fucking intense, especially if you get to the game right before the championship and you need the win and you're in double overtime and then you get scored on by a glitch goal. Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
So when you restart the playoffs, do you start all the way from the bottom again?
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah. They don't make it easy on you. So you only have to win 2.
This is EA Sports we're talking about here.
It's in the game.
I'm going to ask you this week, what have you been up to, sir?
I was about to go into a tangent about, remember when EA Sports used to do that in all the beginning of their games? It was like, EA Sports.
Yeah.
It's in the game. Whatever happened to that? I kind of like that.
Well, I remember when they actually used to have athletes saying that. Remember they used to it'd be like EA Sports in the game, and it's some famous, athlete. It's pretty cool.
And then they started breaking it to actual people saying it, shots of crowds saying it, the usual. But what have I been playing? I've been playing a game that I can't speak about right now. Actually, no, I can speak about it right now with the way that everything is situated with the embargo and everything. But I've been playing this game called Earthlock so far. Haven't got that far into it because I'm working on the review that should be releasing sometimes, hopefully, by next week. But I've been playing that. All I'm going to say right now, for the first hour I've played of it, I like what I'm seeing. But other than that, I've been playing Final Fantasy 15. I also have been playing more Hearthstone because, I don't know, I just got really into Hearthstone randomly all of a sudden again. I've just been been playing some arena runs, collecting some more cards, building up some random decks, and I also randomly at work, was that at work? It was at work towards the end of the day when everybody left, and I was just there on my own, and no one really assigned me anything to do, so I downloaded the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links app on my phone, played a couple of game rounds of that, remind me of why I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day, loved watching that show, but it also reminded me how convoluted and crazy that card game is, because there's so many little things on each card and all the magic and trap cards. I do enjoy that. I like playing it physically, though, because you can actually sit there and read it, where now playing it on the phone, I still like it. I still like the way they set it up, but I don't know. I kind of like Hearthstone more than Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, but don't tell Yu-Gi-Oh! I said that.
Yeah. I won't, I promise.
Gary, what has been going on this week in video game history?
History. This week in gaming. So, anyway, this week in gaming, there's been 2 games that were released. MAG and Mass Effect 2. Now, the difference between these 2 games, of course, is that MAG was a utter disappointment, and Mass Effect 2 was tremendous. Some would say the best of the Mass Effect franchise. Now, I remember buying MAG. I remember you talking about it to me back in the day, and I bought it.
I was so hyped for that game. I was so hyped for what they presented as that game.
A lot of people were, including myself. But I think I played maybe 2 hours, maybe. And then I ended up selling the game, never playing it again, never even thinking about it again. Utter disappointment considering all the cool things that were supposed to be in that game. And I remember that the servers in that game really, really sucked too. So that was also just terrible. And the graphics were kind of weak too. I'm really ripping this game apart. Sorry, guys, but
it was shockingly bad for a game that was released in 2010. It was really poor looking.
It's like they had to sacrifice the graphics for the online connectivity, but then the online connectivity sucked. So it was like, what are you really trying to accomplish here? Anyway, so that game was a complete disappointment. But like I say, there's always a good thing, and that's that Mass Effect 2 release, which was the favorite game for a lot of people in that series.
Oh yeah, wasn't it? I just realized I didn't remember how many players they in MAG you were able to play with, and apparently I saw it on Wikipedia, because everything Wikipedia is correct. MAG received an award from the Guinness World Records as, quote, the most players in a console FPS, end quote, with 256 players.
That's right. Yeah, it was a great premise, but yeah, the execution was just piss poor. Unfortunately, I really wish that game panned out. Yeah.
I was so hyped for that game. I was like, yes! I can't wait to play, not thinking, like, how the hell is 256 players going to actually work? Yeah. I think they put more in the fact of getting that to work and not actual game modes and more variety in weapons and actually the look of the game. They just cared about the size.
Size matters.
All that matters. Oh, look at that. Great minds. Great minds.
To some people.
Weren't you saying something about Mass Effect 2?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was just saying that, Mass Effect 2 was a favorite game for a lot of people of that series, and I enjoyed it a lot. It was one of my favorites, and it was also the introduction for me to the Mass Effect franchise, seeing that I owned a PS3 and didn't really get the chance to play the original Mass Effect until, I guess, they released Mass Effect 2 on PS3 and then released Mass Effect later on, so I got to play that, but up until that point, hadn't played it, so pretty sweet. Pretty awesome.
Good job, Gary. I'm impressed. Keep
this week in gaming.
It's not like you forgot to do it and did it last minute or anything.
Yeah, well, that was. I'm working on a review. Damn it.
Shall we get into the news and everything that's been going on? There's a plethora of stuff. Cornucopia, you could say, with all the nuts and the berries and the fruits.
It's fantastic.
Let's get going. Moving on. Video game industry prepares for coming of possible trade tariff. That title's a little off. Brian Crescenti over at Polygon writes, the Entertainment Software Association is in the process of formulating a plan to deal with the possibility of U.S. President Donald Trump rolling out trade tariffs, a source tells Polygon. A tariff is essentially, if you didn't know, a tariff is essentially a form of tax that is used to make goods and services that are imported in the country more expensive to consumers than the same items made domestically. Those possible tariffs could have an impact on the cost of game consoles and other hardware, much of which is manufactured overseas. There were rumblings in the lead up to Trump's election that his team was floating the idea first of a 5% trade tariff and then a possible 10% tariff. On Monday, Trump signed an executive order to withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He also met with business and union leaders. Blah, 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 blah. If an across-the-board trade tariff was imposed, it would likely impact games and gaming consoles that are imported into the United States, like Nintendo's upcoming Switch console. Polygon reached out to Entertainment Software Association Monday morning to find out if the association, which represents video game developers and companies, to ask what sort of impact the association thinks the tariffs would have on the industry if they were passed. We also asked if the ESA was lobbying against the tariffs. Quote, we are looking into the issue and quote, we are looking into the issue and can provide more information shortly, end quote, a spokesman told us. Very specific. CNN Money pointed out that President Trump would likely not need support from Congress to levy tariffs. He could instead use several different existing rules to do so. While he could I'm guessing he meant impose tariffs fairly quickly, experts have said any significant tariffs could lead to a trade war with other countries. Just start off right at the bat, we're not getting into politics or anything. We're talking about the effect that this could have on the video game consumption per se in the United States when it compares to games overseas versus games developed in the U.S. What are your thoughts right off the bat, Gary?
Well, I mean, it would absolutely suck if video games and video game consoles become more expensive, obviously. I would like to know, though, I'm not really much of an economic genius, I would say, but I would like to know what goods and services and stuff, if there's like different things he could place the tariff on. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he's placing tariffs on automobile manufacturers and then just like certain industries and then avoids the video game industry because
it sounds like, though, what they're saying is they're worried about all. So, hypothetically, if it's all across the board tariffs into the U.S., that raises the prices of video games. However, I like to point out that people, it's true, no matter how much you don't want to believe it, especially, well, in the U.S. anyway, video games are cheaper than ever, comparatively due to inflation and everything.
And frankly, 5%
or 10% tariff. If it, I guess 10% of $66, it would be $66.
Yeah. So I mean,
but I think it raises an important question, like competition now. What happens to I don't know, games being developed? Do the ones developed in the U.S., do they jack up the prices to, say, hey, people are paying for this amount for this game, why don't we raise our prices instead of, doing what they should be doing is lowering them with digital costs. But I don't know if that could have an effect.
The thing about it is, I think regardless of the tariff, whatever tariffs he does put into effect, I think that people are still going to buy the games and the video game consoles anyway.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I mean, like you said, the 5 to 10% difference isn't that drastic. So I don't think that it's going to prevent anybody from buying the consoles or the games, but you never know. I mean, it could affect the businesses individually, and you just never know what's going to happen there. So it should be interesting to monitor.
It could somehow affect sales, and in the long term, it could affect a business long term if they lose a certain sale because somebody doesn't want to pay for a game that's $65 versus $60. They lose that one sale. Who knows? If it's a culminative factor. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you never know with business.
That one person.
Some businesses are fickle. They collapse because of one sale.
They're going to make a movie on that. One person took down the entire video game industry.
It writes itself, But I just thought it was kind of fascinating, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Moving on. Unless you had something more to say, Gary.
No, keep going. Keep it rolling.
Moving on. U.S. gaming industry earned $30.4 billion in 2016, up from 2015. So this sort of goes against the fact that this could hurt the video game industry, what we just said about tariffs, because it seems like people are still paying for it. Mike Minotto writes over at VentureBeat, 2016 was a year of growth for the U.S. gaming industry. According to industry tracker firm, the NPD Group, and the Entertainment Software Association, the ESA, the U.S. video games industry earned $30.4 billion in 2016. That is up from $30.2 billion in 2015. Quote, growth in the entertainment software consumer spend was seen across mobile, PC, virtual reality, subscription, portable, and digital console segments, end quote, said Matt Piscatelli, industry analyst at the NPD Group, in a press release sent to GamesBeat. Quote, consumers have more options to purchase and enjoy entertainment software than ever before, while developers have more and easier ways of delivering that content. No matter the delivery platform, entertainment software has never been more engaging, diverse, or accessible, end quote. 2016 saw the introduction of virtual reality to a wider audience with releases of the Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and the PlayStation VR headsets. It also introduced idea of upgraded console hardware with the PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One S. Meanwhile, the Pokemon franchise had a historic year, with Pokemon Go becoming a momentous hit on mobile, and Pokemon Sun and Moon beating franchise records on the 3DS. Blockbuster games continue to sell well, with familiar franchising having big hits with titles like Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Battlefield 1, NBA 2K17, and Madden NFL 2017. New franchises, including Division and Overwatch, also managed to do well to crack the year's best-selling list. Video game software revenue, which includes physical games, mobile games, downloadable content, subscriptions, and other revenue streams, was also up. It hit $24.5 billion in 2016, higher than 2015's $23.2 billion. That's a lot of cash. Gary, what do you have to say about that?
Well, it's interesting. For a long time now, I remember I had a discussion years ago with somebody, and they were saying how they wonder if, like, eventually video games are just going to die out. It's going to become one of those things like radio, where people just, technological advancements come along and you kind of just, like, forget about video games. You just move on. But what's interesting is that the video game industry is growing. It continues to grow year after year. And I'm thinking what we're seeing right now is kind of like the evolution of video games. I've said before that I'm not really big on virtual reality, but I do think that in the future it's going to become more of a force, obviously. But look at that. I mean, like, you have PlayStation VR, HTC Vive, and Oculus Rift, and they're all starting to really, like, kind of come into their own, and are going to be putting out more games. And you're seeing, like, the evolution of video games right before your very eyes. It's very interesting. And, like, eventually, I mean, you may see consoles kind of disappear. You might see PlayStation. I mean, obviously you see PlayStation VR, but you're going to have the Xbox, or maybe it'll be a different type of Xbox, but virtual reality. It's going to be interesting to see history happening right before our eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, do we see continued growth in the video game industry? I don't know. Like, it's already selling like. This seems like an astronomical number, but I don't know in retrospect how much 30 billion is, I guess, per a different industry. I guess it's probably not as large, but I feel like you're saying, there's definitely room to grow in this industry when it comes to virtual reality or other handhelds or new hybrids that, like Nintendo with their Switch, maybe they tap into that core audience. But I think that's what the mobile games have been doing well. They've been tapping into that core audience and getting those whales of consumers that have been playing those games and also purchasing exuberant amounts of money on those mobile games for those free, quote unquote, free to play games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just interested to see what happens, I think, in the next 20, 30 years. Do you still have a console, or do you have just a virtual reality platform, that sort of thing? Or is
there a chip in your brain that just projects the image in your brain so you see it on the wall, but you're not actually seeing it? It's just in your brain because,
I feel like that could be like a movie. Guy starts hallucinating things. Starts he plays Grand Theft Auto virtual reality, starts shooting up his town.
But
what are you doing?
If there's a chip, you can magically picture there's a control in your hand and send signals from your brain, just electronic signals mimicking the touch and feel of that controller in your hand, and what you do when you click a button, the right feeling of hitting that button. It it's kind of an insane thought, but it's kind
of
cool.
You had to file for some sort of patent.
Yeah, to insert chips into people's brains. Even though I feel like that in 30 to 40 years, do I see that happening? I honestly do.
30 to 40 years?
Yeah. I really feel like it's, read the book about singularity, how the combination of man and machine are inevitably going to come together.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I never read the I understand the idea, though, but
let's be clear. I am not hopping on the first iteration bandwagon when it comes to implanting stuff into my brain. Hell no. I've seen what the iPhone 1 was. It's not even iPhone 1. It was iPhone. And it was, well, I don't want to say trash, but they had some kinks to work out. When it comes to my brain, I don't want fucking kinks to work out. I want it to work. Damn it. So I'm not touching that. It may be 2 to 3 iterations before, but I feel like it'll eventually, I don't know why we got off on a tangent. I feel like that'll happen somewhere down the road. People want to prolong their life. Nanobots are coursing through our body, repairing our cells and everything. We have more intelligence, with the chips. It helps us think better, fights off, Alzheimer's and all that good jazz.
I think it's a pretty awesome idea, personally.
Yeah.
You never know.
Who knows?
The future's bright.
I've always been a proponent of nanobots curing our body. But then that gets into the ideas like what makes you a human and all of that. Like if you have more machine in you, and I don't know
turn into Darth Vader.
I'm sure people will get outraged. We're talking hypotheticals now.
Yeah, we got off on quite a bit of tangent there, but it kind of fits into the whole story.
Yeah,
the whole article.
Moving on. Nintendo Switch getting 3 more games at launch. Michael McWhirter over at Polygon writes, the Nintendo Switch launch lineup has a trio of new additions: The World of Goo, Little Inferno, and Human Resource Machine. Developer Tomorrow Corporations announced those 3 games will be available for Switch on March 3rd, the same day Nintendo's next console arrives. While those games have been released on previous generation of Nintendo hardware, the Switch versions will have something exclusive. Quote, all 3 games will come bundled with their full original soundtracks, end quote, the developer said on its website. Quote, Tomorrow Corporation's intrepid interns have created a new soundtrack mode where players can explore Kyle Gabriel's wonderful bizarre music in this special mode, available only on Nintendo Switch, end quote. All 3 of these games will be digitally released. So, make sure you have plenty of add-on storage. 2D Boys World of Goo was first released in 2008 on Wii. Tomorrow Corporation's Little Inferno and Human Resource Machines were released for Wii U in 2012 and 2015 respectively. Tomorrow's Corporation games joined The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, 1-2 Switch, Skylanders Imagineer, Super Bomber R, and Just Dance 2017 in the confirmed list of titles coming to Nintendo Switch on day 1. And I would just like to point out that really struck out the big thing to note in that whole article is that those games, quote, those games have been released on previous generations of Nintendo hardware previously from previous generations. That just seems pretty. That's again going from previous generations, just bringing it to the Switch. What happened with the Wii U of bringing old games to the Switch? That's just me pointing it out.
Can I just say,
I'm not saying I hate the Switch.
No, I'm not either. I'm not going to bash it too much, I don't think. But I think that it doesn't really add. Again, does it add anything new to the launch day lineup? Like you don't really have many games to begin with, and just bringing back old games to a new console, is that really adding much or spicing up the content for your consumers? I don't know. What do you think about it? I mean, do you think that it's a good thing, or do you think it's just kind of like them desperately trying to throw on last minute these launch titles?
I'm sure they went to the developers and asked if they could move it over. I don't know. I don't know how much this is going to actually get people jazzed about the launch lineup. I mean, they do have Zelda, so that's kind of cool. But are these games really move the needle of like saying that this launch library is crazy? Because I've never even heard of these games before. Not gonna lie, but they were. I guess they did come out for, I don't know, 3DS or Wii U. It's just previous hardware. So I've never really heard of them before, so it doesn't really get me jazzed or anything.
But how about the other games in the launch title that have been there already? Do you think they were interesting? I mean, besides Zelda, I mean, obviously I know you really want to see that, but what about the other games? Are you
I've been
interested in
hearing
those?
really good things about ARMS and Snipper Clips. Two games, ARMS being sort of a fighting game between two people, or I've just been hearing good things about it with an interesting cast of characters, kind of in, I don't want to say Overwatch vein, but they're different types of characters, different movesets, I guess, with fighting and using the Joy-Con controllers when it comes to that. And apparently it's really responsive and it's kind of cool. And also the puzzle game that is Snipper Clips, I've been hearing really good things that people coming out of the press conference, they've really enjoyed that game. It's like a puzzle game co-op where you're sort of clipping each other because you're like little pieces of paper and you're clipping each other to fit into certain shapes that are behind you. And then also I think you're tasked with doing other things along that. I'm not sure. I'm not positive about everything, but it seems those games seem pretty cool. I mean, Nintendo, if they're Nintendo developed or Nintendo had a hand in them, I'm sure Nintendo normally always takes good care of their properties or what they're creating, and they want this. I would hope they would want this to succeed, so I feel like they'll put their best foot forward when it comes to the games being released. However, they're not putting enough of their foot forward, I think, with the coming games. I mean, they state that there's 80 games in the works, but what are we at now? 8 at launch, and it seems like only a few coming in the coming months in summer. I don't know. It just seems rather forced. Again, I've been reiterating, but I digress.
Yeah, I think they're putting a lot of faith in the fact that a lot of their diehard fans are going to be coming back to them, and also, or at least not coming back, but buying the product outright, regardless of what happens. And they're also putting a lot of faith in the fact that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, oh, well, this is such a cool idea. You can take this thing on the go. Like, they're going to believe in the gimmicky novelty type of aspects of the console.
He called it a gimmick. Oh shit!
No, I'm just saying. I mean,
Gary hates the Nintendo Switch. He wants it to die.
No, I've seen Nintendo for years trying these gimmicks out, trying to get people to buy them because, whatever. But
dance.
But it's like you said, though. I just think it's like I was just saying. I think that they're putting way too much faith into those two groups of people, and it may cost them in the end if their lineup isn't great on launch day, and also if they're not launching enough games in the coming months after that. So it should be interesting to monitor.
I mean, I think
again.
I feel like their blunder with the Wii U sort of cost them with their marketing strategy and what this exactly was. They lost a lot of people when it came to the Wii U, and I don't know if right now they're getting anybody back. They're probably getting people over from the Wii U. They're probably getting on some new people. I feel like there are people that are interested in the Switch. I know I've talked to coworkers who are really fascinated by the Switch and what it's entitled. However, the price point sort of they weren't a fan of. But I don't know. Is it going to do enough to bring people over? Who knows? We'll see in the future. Moving on. New Pokemon game released from nowhere, out now, from Oscar Deus over at GameSpot. Out of nowhere, a new Pokemon game released today on iOS and Android, if you didn't know, called Pokemon Duel. It's a free-to-play strategy board game for mobile. It was released in Japan as Pokemon Com Master in 2016, but has now been released in English. Pokemon Duel doesn't contain the same rock, paper, scissors combat as the mainline games. Instead, it turns a based board game in which you move Pokemon counters to the opposite side of the arena. Clashes between friendly and enemy counters result in a dueling minigame. Duels, however, retain the collectible element. What? That doesn't make sense. Duels does, however, retain. Okay, I got it. Duel does, however, retain the collectible element of other Pokemon games. Using an in-game currency, you can collect chests containing new Pokemon counters for use in battle. In other Pokemon news, if you were curious, a new Pikachu-themed 3DS is coming to the U.S. Just FYI.
Right. So I'm looking down the comment section here because, frankly, I mean, I'm not much of a Pokemon fan, nor have I really played much of any Pokemon games. But for what it's worth, I'm going to read off a comment and just saying, take it with a grain of salt.
Are you talking about 69 chipmunks?
Yeah, it's written by 69ing chipmunks. So anyway. He says, saying flat out that it sucks. It's free, but they push far too heavily for the in-app purchases that are insanely overpriced. You really have one of two options when playing. A, strictly grind out the game in order to acquire new items, or B, pay for their overpriced in-app purchases. It's a pathetic cash grab attempt. Don't even bother downloading it.
Now,
I mean,
I don't know if we want to take his word with a grain, or taking his word with a grain of salt. I don't know if he just has the thing out for Nintendo. Who knows? Who knows with 69ing chipmunks? Who knows? I just like that name.
Yeah, I always wonder where these people get these names from. But I would say that with mobile games, I wouldn't be too surprised if it's partially true. Maybe it's not as terrible as he's saying, but the in-app purchases do sound pretty par for the course, especially in mobile gaming.
I mean, it looks fascinating getting to collect those cute little Pokemon figurines, and I don't know how the game will play. It looks like what we said is a board game moving pieces around. You encounter when you're doing the duel. It's not really you choosing anything. It looks like a board is spinning, and you decide. It determines which attack your Pokemon does. Sometimes you miss, sometimes you hit. You're not really choosing anything, it seems like, but I definitely kind of want to check it out sometime. Maybe when I'm free one day and don't have anything to play, maybe I'll check it out on mobile, or maybe I'm away, not at home when I have Wi-Fi and other games to play. But I'll check it out eventually. I feel like it's a Pokemon game. Why not? They make me dance. I'm a puppet to Pokemon. Moving on, fighting game Tekken 7 debuts June 2nd on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Dean Takahashi over at VentureBeat writes, Tekken 7 will finally launch on June 2nd in the Americas, according to Japanese publisher Bandai Namco Entertainment. The long-awaited fighting game arrives on Sony PlayStation 4, Windows PC, and Microsoft's Xbox One after years in development. Bandai Namco has launched a season pass and pre-order bonuses. If you reserve a game today, you get downloadable vampire character Eliza. Fucking names. If you play on Xbox One, you'll also get a free backwards compatible copy of Tekken 6 for Xbox 360. The company also released a new trailer. Do I really need to go into the nitty-gritty stuff about other things? Tekken 7's coming out June 2nd. Are you excited for this, Gary?
Well, no, but I will say that I have played. I've had experience with these games. Blast from the past. So when I bought my first ever console was the original PlayStation. Never played Nintendo, which is blasphemous to a lot of people, but I did play Nintendo years after.
Woohoo! Sorry.
But my first console was a PlayStation, and the demo disc that came with it had Tekken 2 on it. So that shows how long ago that was. But I remember playing that game as a kid and just kicking the utter shit out of people. It was pretty cool, kind of freaky. There was a guy with I think it was a lion's head or maybe a tiger head. Pretty cool looking dude. I used to kick ass, but yeah, just a little blast from the past.
I think I played Tekken 3, one of the Tekken games on PS2. And I liked the game. I liked the look of it. I liked playing, but I had no idea what was happening in the story. No fucking clue what was going on. There was some form of a story, but I honestly had no clue. I just, being a little kid, I was like, oh yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, I never really, I know you're pretty much the same, but I never really got much into the fighting game scene. So this one for me isn't something that I'm really paying much attention to.
The only fighting game that I'm really... No, there was two fighting games I got into. One, Fight Night.
Oh, well.
Fight Night's a classic boxing game.
It's a little...
technically fighting, though.
Yeah.
Two, being Super Smash, because obviously Super Smash is not... It's a different type of fighting game. It's more loose. It's not the combo, punch, in a certain health bar, knocking people off. It's more fun. Nintendo made it. It's awesome. Moving on! Battlefield 1's first DLC revealed. 4 maps, 2 vehicles, and a new mode. Tyler Wilde over at PC Gamer writes, the first Battlefield 1 DLC, They Shall Not Pass, releases in March. And today, EA revealed exactly what'll be in it. The biggest deal are the new maps, of which there will be 4. Verdun Heights, Fort Vox,
Soissons. I looked up the names, by the way. It's Fort Vaux, and Soissons.
Oh, and Rupture. Oh, Gary, you want to keep reading? I meant to
Absolutely. Yeah, I was like, he kind of went ahead. All right. Well, anyway, So, continuing. A new mode, Frontlines, will see both teams fight for one flag at a time. When one team captures a flag, the focus moves on to the next capture point as they push further into enemy territory. When one team makes it all the way to the other's HQ, the game turns into a rush-style section where telegraph posts need to be attacked or defended. It sounds like Frontlines, unlike Operations, could create the opportunity for lengthy back-and-forth battles for attrition over a single area. Along with the French army, the absence of which in the base game caused some dissatisfaction, come two new French vehicles, a Behemoth, the Char 2C tank, and the Assault Tank Gun, the most heavily armored Allied tank of the war. Finally, the DLC adds the Trench Raider Elite Class picture at the top of this article. Well, you don't see it, of course, because you're not seeing this article. But it adds the Trench Raider Elite Class and a new stationary weapon, the Siege Howitzer. You can obviously see all the DLC, all the details in the screenshots in a official post probably made on the DICE website or the Battlefield 1 website. But I've been taking a look at some of these maps at the bottom. Very interesting maps. The one thing about this game, I'm not going to read all the descriptions of the maps, but one of the interesting things I think about this game that I love a lot is the attention to map design. It's just fantastic. Everything about it, the burning vehicles that are there on the map, or it's such a beautiful game. Like the sounds, everything. I just love it. But yeah, you're going to see in these maps, like Fort Vaux is like a close quarters combat. Looks like you're fighting basically in a fort. Shocker. So you're going to be probably going to be using a lot of the assault class, and medics are probably going to have a field day. But Soissons is more of like a town. It looks like a kind of like a town combat, and Ruptures, at least from the picture I'm seeing, a lot of trench warfare. And Verdun Heights, I think it's that. But anyway, it looks pretty interesting. It kind of reminds me of the Argonne Forest map, if anyone's played that in Battlefield 1, with more of a it looks more destroyed than the Argonne Forest. A lot of flames going on, So I see Adam there making faces. I don't know exactly what he's doing. But I think I said pretty much all I have to say.
All right, moving on. Free Xbox One and 360 games with gold for February 2017 have been revealed. Eddie Machuch over at GameSpot. I'm pretty certain that's not how you say his name, but I like saying Machuch. Over at GameSpot writes, Microsoft has announced February 2017's games with gold lineup. As usual, 4 games are being made free at different times throughout the month. Freebies include Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time and Project Cars for Xbox One. While Xbox 360 owners get Monkey Island 2 SE, not sure what that stands for because I can't see the title, and the Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Note that the Xbox 360 games are playable on Xbox One through backwards compatibility. Never played Lovers in a Dangerous Time. I've seen it constantly. I think it's like a co-op sort of game, building your spaceship, fighting off things. Heard good things about Project Cars, but again, I'm not a racing fan, so I've never got into it. Monkey Island, I don't fucking know. Force Unleashed, I have played that game, and I do like the first iteration of the Force Unleashed. I don't know about you, Gary.
Yeah, I played the first one, obviously. I never played the second. I heard it wasn't really that good.
Garbage!
But I'll tell you. Well, first of all, the game was great. I thought it really added a cool story, but obviously once Disney bought the whole franchise, they basically said that everything, all these other stories are basically not canon anymore, non-canon, so it's just meaningless. But nevertheless, I mean, the game is still a blast to play. And the graphics in that game were surprisingly, I think they were kind of ahead of their time. They were really nice.
Game. I really like that game. I like how you're sort of playing as a dark side character, even though there's obviously you'll choose at the end. Spoilers are not shocking at all, but I like the way you use the Force. It's more brutal and more. There's very large spectacle set pieces in the game, which I enjoy. I remember bringing down the starship was in this, which is insane, but also a pain in the fucking ass. I like the look of it, but I hated what you had to do. Moving the starship and then also fighting off the TIE fighters and all that bullshit. God,
I was just going to say, I think I raged like countless times during that thing until I beat it. Oh my God. It was so so infuriating to do that stage. Oh my god! But
I did like
yeah,
the
game,
like the dueling aspect of when you're fighting other Jedi. I feel like it was a dueling aspect basically. You're fighting, but then it also had like cutscenes involved with it too.
yeah, wasn't there? Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there like it was like a cutscene, but you had to hit certain buttons in certain successions. Now
Like button
that can
timing,
be,
but I thought there was a
yeah,
dueling aspect to it as well. As you get to a certain point in their health bar, and then you do the button timing, and then it would go into the next fight sequence through like a very fancy looking thing, which I always, being a little kid, I enjoyed.
yeah.
Littler kid.
I haven't played that game in probably since it first released. I think I played through that maybe one time, and I mean I don't have my Xbox 360 anymore, which is where I originally played it. So never really got a chance to play it again, unfortunately.
I don't even know if there's that much replayability, but really enjoyed the game. It was rather short though. That was the one gripe about it, but the journey was pretty nice. But moving on. The Banner Saga 3 Kickstarter campaign begins. Robert Purchase over at Eurogamer writes, the Banner Saga 3 Kickstarter campaign has begun, seeking $200,000 for the third and final installment of the series. There's no mention of console or mobile versions, nor a release date, although the campaign's estimated date of delivery is December 2018. The series skipped crowdfunding for the second installment, The Banner Saga 2, but now needs it again. Quote, making games is an intricate business, Stoic said in its pitch. Quote, and I messed up. Sorry. Start over! Quote, making games is an intricate business, end quote, Stoic said in his pitch. Quote, and we take it very seriously. Stoic conformed in 2012 with the launch of the Kickstarter for Banner Saga and a humble ask of $100,000. We were blown away by the response and the support of the community, who raised more than $700,000. That first Kickstarter campaign helped us launch the game, develop and launch the sequel, and accrue many awards in the process. Putting all the money we raised back into the development of the game raised the bar higher than we could have managed on our own. Now we're back in a similar position as before, hoping you'll support Banner Saga 3 to make this game just as special. We are still solidly indie, not accepting any investors' funding, so Kickstarter is still a great way to rally the community to show support for the game, while letting us call the shots on the games we make. Whew! We're playing for most of the games. We're paying for most of the game ourselves, but the funds we're asking for will enable us to take time we need and bring the band back together one more time, and fucking quote. Thank goodness that was a long quote. But that's exciting. Banner Saga 3 now has a Kickstarter campaign. I remember playing the first Banner Saga. I really liked it. Do you know what Banner Saga is, Gary?
I was taking a look at the trailer they had, but yeah, you can explain more if you want. You know more about it than I do.
So it's sort of like a Viking-esque type, we're a Viking-esque setting, lore-based. There's monsters chasing you or creeping throughout the land, but you're the head of two differing parties that are trying to travel across the land and meet up. So you have to gather supplies and make sure you can last throughout the trip between different, I guess, cutscenes or set pieces. Well, I lost my train of thought. Jesus Christ! But there was it was a turn-based, simplistic turn-based action portion of the game. You made decisions that sort of affected you going forward, so decisions were very crucial in that game of what you wanted to accomplish. So I really enjoyed the premise and the look and the feel of that game. I never got around to beating it, unfortunately. Time sort of slipped away from me. I need to get back into it. That's another game on the shame list. But I really enjoyed Banner Saga. The decision aspect, the supply gathering, sort of, making sure your party's morale is high and don't lose that many people, making decisions. So, like, for example, you're traveling from, like, one camp to the next. You have to make the decision of whether or not you want to stop because people are straggling behind, or if somebody committed a crime in your party, you decide to exile them or give them a second chance. If you give them a second chance, sometimes they'll screw you over and actually steal something in your party, or it could somehow favor you in the future, and that guy or gal is more loyal to you. Something like that, for example.
I was this is sort of in the same topic, I guess. But I was going to say too that I have to say I love these hearing about these Kickstarter games because I find it honestly amazing what this website does. You have like these really small developers like where's this? What's this studio called? I'm not sure exactly what they're called. I'm not sure if they have a
Stoic.
Is it Stoic? I think it's Stoic. But I have to say it's amazing. Like you have these really small groups of people that want to make these video games, and obviously, it takes a lot of money and a lot of capital to do that. But Kickstarter gives them an avenue to explore and gives them an avenue to acquire those funds and basically be able to put out these games that are awesome. And I never played Iron Banner Saga, or Iron Banner. Jesus, I'm thinking of Destiny right now.
It never leaves you.
I thought the same thing. I did the same thing earlier when I was reading this article. But the Banner Saga, it's the same thing. I mean, they're able to create this game with these funds, and it's just really awesome to me. I think it's a great. There's plenty of these stories out there, and obviously this is just one of them, but it's just really cool.
And the look of the game, I kind of like the art style to it. It reminds me of like old like cartoon. What's Dragon Age? Was that what it's called? Or if you look at the old like Link 2 comic thing in style, that's the kind
what it reminded me of?
What?
It reminded me of Avatar: The Last Airbender on Nickelodeon. It really kind of did. It isn't like it really did. I'm not kidding. Not the actual action in the game, but the actual like drawings of the characters. That's the first thing I thought of. Probably because I
thought of like I think of old cartoon style drawing.
I can see that
Hobbit style. I don't know. But right now, currently, the Kickstarter is at $126 or basically $127,000 right now, which it was just created. So I think they're on to a good start, if I do say so myself. But yeah, moving on. I gotta open up the article because I forgot to. Moving on. Nintendo Switch. More Nintendo Switch stuff. Aren't you excited? Nintendo Switch won't have any video apps at launch. Jeffrey Matulef. Yep, nailed it. Over at Your Gamer writes, the Nintendo Switch won't include any of video games apps upon its March 3rd launch. Fucking European dates. What the fuck is this? We're in America. The story Kyoto-based company confirmed this information in a statement to Kotaku. Quote, all of our efforts have gone towards making the Nintendo Switch system an amazing dedicated video game platform, so it will not support any video streaming services at launch, end quote, Nintendo said. Quote, however, support for video streaming services is being considered for future update, end quote. Not gonna lie, that seems a little tone deaf that this console, maybe they're trying to get, focus on the gamers, but it just seems tone deaf. Because everybody loves Netflix. Everyone wants to watch it. I don't know. It just seems like why?
Well, first of all, okay, they go. All our efforts have gone toward making the Nintendo Switch system an amazing dedicated video game platform. Then why the hell are you only releasing 8 games now on launch day? What is that?
Crickets.
And then on top of that, you don't have any video apps. Like, come on, guys. Come on.
That seems like just a simple, I don't want to say simple. I mean simple as in like the idea of adding that to the system is a simple idea that they should have incorporated. It seems like that's an easy thing to decide on doing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but at the same time, I totally respect their position more if they actually were focusing on the video game aspect and actually bringing video games to the console.
So, like, if they were saying, "Oh, we're bringing this game next month, this game next month, this game next month," and not care about the video apps that this hardware could provide.
Well, that and actually bringing more launch titles, more provocative launch titles, something that makes me want to buy the. Not in that sense, but just something that makes me want to buy the console. But I don't know. I'm not a big company guy.
People are screaming right now, saying that we're such fucking Nintendo haters. Why are you hating Nintendo, Mario, Yoshi? Oh yeah, love it. Woo!
Wow. Damn, dude.
Moving on. Inside Limbo developer Playdead teases a new project which looks a little bit science fiction. Oh, tired myself out there for a second. Brenna Hiller over at Video Game 24/7 writes, Inside and Limbo developer Playdead has begun teasing a new project. This unknown game will be Playdead's third, apparently in the works since the Inside shipped. The untitled project has a little bit of a science fiction feel, showing a figure which may be wearing some sort of environmental suit and dragging what looks like a used parachute as something burns through the atmosphere above. Since Inside and Limbo both won awards, sold strongly, and were critical darlings, you'd be forgiven for opening your wallet immediately. You'd be forgiven for opening your wallet immediately. Don't get too excited. It took Playdead 6 years to bring Inside to market. Admittedly, that's because Inside is practically perfect. They threw that in there. So why tease now? It's possible it's a bit of a soft PR management, as reports broke last week that co-founder Dino Patti had been forced out of the indie company, leaving some fans wondering whether the small team were in some sort of trouble. Gamasutra has a good summary if you're keen. So if you want to go to Video Games 24/7 and click on that link, and you'll find more information. But yeah, I like the look, the style, and look. It looks like Inside, just science fiction version of it. Looks like you're just looking. The perspective is 2D, moving in that direction. I love sci-fi, so I'm kind of excited for this already. It may be 6 years from now, but I'm pumped.
I never had the opportunity to play either of their first two games.
Fucking missing out.
I figured you probably had, but anything sci-fi pretty much has my name on it, so I'll probably be paying a little bit of attention.
You should definitely check out Inside and also Limbo. Limbo's a classic, and so is Inside. To be honest, also with the whole PR management, I like to point out that for indie company, the Dino Patti I heard. Not through the grapevine, but for sources, I think he was able to walk away with like $7.2 million from the company, an indie company nonetheless. So it shows to show how well that company's been doing since Limbo and Inside were developed, how much people love those games, because Limbo does well on, I guess, on every platform, mobile, market, everywhere. Limbo is basically everywhere. You can go on your iPad and get it, Gary, so fucking get it. And I'm sure Inside will be there too, even though it's more, I think, more strange definitely at the end. But I digress. Move on to the final topic. I'm already sad. We're almost done. I gotta open it. Quote. Why am I saying quote? Man, I'm struggling through this episode. I'm finally getting to me. My voice is going. The tiredness, the excitement from earlier is waning. You're not doing your job, Gary. You're not keeping me energized.
Hey, I can clearly take the wheel here for this.
All right, you read this last one. Gary,
okay.
Take the wheel.
So, from cogconnected.com. Ori and the Blind Forest dev calls PS4 Pro half-assed next to Scorpio. So, you can find it all on Reddit. Thomas Mahler, a developer for Xbox One's Ori and the Blind Forest, answered a question regarding Scorpio. In sum, a user asked whether Scorpio was next gen. A short answer would have been yes, but God, I keep thinking Bill Maher.
Me too.
But Mahler went as far as to make his own comparison. While PS4 Pro is kind of half-assed, he stated that Scorpio will truly be next gen. Moreover, it will support current generation titles. Earlier today, we talked about leaked specs for Xbox Scorpio, which you can obviously find on the website. We confirmed that Microsoft's latest console will be 4.5 times more powerful.
4.5. Fucking this scrub.
Okay, engineer. Okay, so 4.5 times more powerful than Xbox One and more. But this latest bit of news just adds fuel to the fire. Mahler basically confirmed that Scorpio will be a next-generation console with backwards compatibility. While Xbox One S and PS4 Pro are beefier versions of previous systems, Scorpio is offering something wholly new. You can even say it will be even more like PCs, which is, well, we'll get into that in a second, a comparison Mahler was keen to make. So, I think that's pretty much the gist of the article. Now, I do want to make the mention here that he says it'll be more like PCs. No, it won't. No, it won't be more like PCs. You know why? Because it can't be upgraded. That's why.
You never know, though. They may make a modular console where you can finally upgrade it with Xbox parts.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. But, I mean, this is just – I feel like this is kind of like something for the fanboys, because you're going to have like these the Sony fanboys, the Microsoft fanboys. Dude, this is so bullshit. You know, it's fucking screaming, throwing stuff around the room, screaming at people online. But
the thing I wrote down or had a thought about was like, what is Sony's response to Scorpio now? It seems like they were definitely caught off guard by the reveal of Scorpio because Xbox or Microsoft released a basically pro version of the Xbox One, which was Xbox One S, which is basically kind of what the PS4 Pro does for the PlayStation. But I guess PS4, PlayStation got caught with their pants down right now, and they have no idea what to do.
I don't know what they're trying to do here, because I don't have a problem with my PlayStation 4.
No, I don't
give
either.
a damn. I can wait 5 more years if that's what it is for the next PlayStation. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. If I had the money, maybe I would go out and buy an Xbox One, but or whatever upgraded version there are. But like this whole Project Scorpio thing, like 4.5 times more powerful. Well, that's great, but I don't know. My games still look great on my PlayStation 4. I still have a great time playing the games I currently have. So I don't really know why these companies are doing this now. Like the PS4 Pro, no one really responded well to that. And now they're coming out with a Scorpio, Microsoft is. And I just don't know what it's really going to, like what these gaming companies are doing now. Like, is this going to become like something that they do year after year, or is this going to be part of like, I guess the company plans from here on out? I don't know, but I just don't like this. I really don't.
I don't know what Sony's answer is going to be. I don't know if they have something in the works. I'm sure they do have PlayStation 5 or whatever it's going to be called in research and development stages right now. I'm sure it's there. I'm sure they had this going ever since PlayStation 4 was launched, let's be honest. It's probably been going on for that long. But I don't know if they planned on releasing it as soon as Xbox is releasing their Scorpio, because I know a friend asked me, due to COD 4, the remastered version coming out, he wanted to get a PlayStation 4, and he was asking me if it was a good thing to get a PlayStation 4 now, or is the PS5 going to come out in, I don't know, a year? I said I thought he had a good 2 to 3 years before any type of new next generation PlayStation console is going to be released. However, thinking now, I still think that. I still think that PlayStation is still at least a year, 2 or 3 away from finally releasing it. Because right now, I don't see the point of releasing a next gen console. I feel like you can still get more out of the PlayStation. I feel like. Can say what you're gonna say?
Oh, I was going to say that it kind of blows, like if they were to release a new console, because you figure the new console is going to have its own, lineup of games and its own services and everything pertaining to it. So like you're going to basically be dividing, like you're going to have people playing PlayStation 4, people playing PlayStation 5, if that's what it actually is. I just feel like it would. I don't know. I don't like how this is going. I hope this doesn't become like a common thing.
See, we have a weird perspective because we're still young. So what we got inundated with was basically, well, I mean, we had the Xbox, but the 360 came out right around the time, I guess we were around, video games became more of a thing. It was PS2 and then finally PS3 and then 360 came out. However, we were basically, our video game prime of playing those games was in the 360 and PS3 era, where that lasted for 10 years? That those consoles were out? Basically 10 years? Oh, shit.
Yeah, like the 360 came out in what, 05 or 06?
05, and PS3 came out in 06, I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, so I mean, that lasted what, until 20, I mean, like the PlayStation, what the hell, when did PlayStation 4 came in? Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it's been, what, 3 years already for PlayStation 4? What the hell is that?
Yeah. That's nuts. No, it definitely came out 2013. I'm pretty certain I was a sophomore in college. But that's the thing, we were inundated with having that console for a long period of time. We weren't used to, because prior generations, before this, I think new consoles were released every 5 years. It seemed, from what I remember hearing from people that have been around longer in the video game industry.
I don't know about you, but I mean, as a video game person, I feel like a lot of like diehard video game players, you kind of like just become attached to a certain console for a while. Like, you had your original. Well, no, not that. I'm talking about like just like a personal thing. Like, how you had your original Xbox? Like, there's a lot of stuff. Like, you look at that console and there's a lot of memories attached to it. Or you look at your PlayStation 3. Again, the same thing. But like, what's going to happen? What? Yeah, you're going to get PlayStation 4, and then like a couple of years later, you're going to buy like the next upgraded version, or I don't know. I mean,
I feel like I felt when it came from 360 to Xbox One or PlayStation 3 to PS4, seeing that new console and seeing like the interface and everything, I felt like I needed that. It felt like it was new. It felt like I had to get a new console because every like developer was wringing out the last bit of juice that they could get out of the previous consoles. Whereas now I had that feeling like they could get out a lot more from PS4 and the Xbox One. I feel like there's a lot more to give.
Well, not to mention with the PlayStation 3, like as much as I love my PS3, there were so many things that need to be improved. And when that PS4 came out and you had the party chat, which should have been added years prior to that, and not just that, but the user interface was improved and everything else. It was like you said, you felt like, wow, like this is going to be like an amazing console. And now it just feels like they're going to start churning out different versions like every other year, and it's just really kind of lame.
Here's an idea. How about they say F it and just fix the whole PSN interface, for the love of God, please.
What do you mean?
Because
what do you mean, like the actual
reason
PlayStation
I say
4?
Fix that is because I remember hearing that people that are more in the know with the whole interface and the coding and the system that's behind it is that it was built so poorly to be modified and upgraded that it's kind of like a shit show of trying to fix the PSN. That's why I felt like now with paying for PlayStation Plus, and I felt like going into the new generation, I thought they would fix it from the ground up and have a better interface, you know?
Yeah, I was hoping that as well, that the subscription would actually improve the online, like you said, the online platform. But
at least let us
I'll be honest with you.
Names, for the love of God, let me change my name.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Aside from that, I definitely need to do. But I mean, aside from like the hacker groups that can bring down both online services, I mean, I haven't had many problems with the PSN. I've been satisfied with it. Obviously, it seems like that whenever anyone brings down the PSN, it seems to go down longer than the Xbox services, which is kind of annoying. But I don't know. I haven't really had too much of a problem with my PS4 at all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
well
that's
said,
yeah.
Circus of values. Sorry, it was in my brain.
Yeah,
I wanted to say it.
Classic.
Circuit. Okay. But that was it. That's all we have. That's all the topics. We were trying to get a golden cartridge thing again, but unfortunately, Ryan is having issues with his website, which is completely understandable. It seems like he's the only one working on it, so take your time, buddy. We'll read them when the website's back up and running. But, Gary, what do you have to say before you go?
Well, I'll tell you what. So this whole Flame in the Flood thing that happened with the review, getting that review copy was awesome. Obviously, you had a big part in doing that, Adam, and asking them for the review copy. But
yeah, I'm great. You can tell me that.
You also obviously are working on your own game right now, and it's just, I have to say, it's really awesome. I feel like we're finally like starting to get the ball rolling more. I don't know. I'm pretty pumped about it.
We're finally there, Gary. No, we're not there. We're not even close to there.
But it's just such an awesome thing. I just feel like it's fun to actually be able to bring different content to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I think we're starting to find new avenues to do that, with smaller companies and smaller indie games, and it's just a lot of fun. So exactly.
Trying to get Gary to inundate more with indie games. Gary, how'd you like that indie game?
That was great. And you'll find out more in the review, actually, which is releasing like within a couple hours probably.
I will fucking break you of your indie stereotype.
I don't have any problem with indie games. The problem I had before, like I said, was I couldn't find any that really struck a chord. And
Bastion.
I'm
telling you, Bastion is a game you should check out.
Yeah. Well, I found the obviously Flame of the Flood was great, and even the Stardew Valley was awesome. I haven't played that in a little bit, but that's again just such a cool like chill type of experience. So there's a lot of games out there. Like Turing Test. I'm not sure if that's kind of an indie game, I guess, as well. So also looks really interesting. But anyway, like I said, it's really cool to bring new content, and we're obviously working on new stuff. The episodes are going to be changing, like we were talking about before. So that is pretty much all I got to say.
Trying to make it better for all y'all out there. So if you want to give us information, please tweet us at 2JerseyKids.
Exactly. And that's pretty much all I got to say for this episode. So we'll be seeing you next week on Tuesday for, like I said, the new Tuesday episode, which is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to figure out what we're going to be talking about. But pay attention to Twitter. We'll be announcing maybe the topic beforehand. It's a sneak peek. But yeah, it's been a great time. Hope you all have a great night, day, or whatever.
Again, me, Adam here. Listen to me as I get close to my mic. Please, we love you all. Please go rate us on iTunes or the podcast service that you use. We really appreciate that. This has been Two Jersey Kids, episode 22. We really love all of you. So please go follow us on Twitter at Two Jersey Kids. Please tweet us if you have any questions you want us to discuss or talk about regarding video games on the podcast, or just anything in general. Could be just random things. We'll talk about it. But, yeah, please hit that subscribe button if you're a new listener. Please share the podcast with all your friends. We are so cool you want to share us, I know.
Please love us.
Please. Just love us just once. But that has been Two Jersey Kids. We love you all. We will keep releasing 2 episodes each week. You know, we're here. Gary, say bye to the folks.
Peace out once again.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Keep playing those games. All right, guys and gals. Gotta be both sides of the coin, you know. Peace out, guys. Keep playing those games. Bye!